was wrong. It creeps on back through color glass, through color glass. I'll paint out the sun again to say I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change a thing. Come with me. I'm here once again, and I'm dealing, I'm feeling the pain. So who takes the fall again? Come with me. Come with me. Wrong. It creeps on back through color glass, through color glass.
The saga begins. Begin war. The saga begins. Begin war. War. Begin war. 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 Begin war. War. The saga begins. Begin war. War. Begin war. The saga begins. Begin war. War. Begin war. 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 Begin war. Begin war. Yo, the saga begins. Begin war.
Welcome everybody to COD Weekly. I'm joined by Mr. Perpetuine. Fortunately, no guest this week, but that's okay because we just out here chilling. You know how we do.
Hi.
Yeah, we've had an exciting.
I'm Canadian.
Yeah, he is Canadian. We've had an exciting afternoon. But introduce yourself, what you do in the scene. I'll introduce myself. Little update on eSportsRush. What's going on there? Just some new stuff, you know? So, introduce yourself, Thomas.
Sorry, what was that?
Introduce yourself.
Oh.
Oh, by the way, quick pause, because the overlay's messed up, because I should be on the left and you should be on the right.
Ah! That is awesome. I will fix that right away.
Hashtag
Nice.
Easter egg.
That is beautiful.
Okay, but yeah. So introduce yourself to everybody on the stream. On the stream.
Hi, my name is Thomas. I am the worst producer on this show.
That's true.
There we go. All fixed. Names are all proper and such.
Woohoo.
I can't believe I did that. This is what happens when we talk to James.
Yeah.
He just distracts us way too much.
He's too entertaining for our good. But
Exactly.
either way, continue.
My name is Thomas, aka Mr. Pro Poutine on Twitter. I have been in competitive Call of Duty for all of 3 days. And you can call me Hitch's alias.
Okay, I don't get
Another
that.
little Easter egg.
One ear at the other. But what's up, guys? I'm Azumius. I'm a content creator for eSportsRush. I am the host of CoD Weekly along with Mr. Perpetine. Yeah, I'm head of the talent acquisition department at eSportsRush.com.
You made that up
So-
to feel important.
No, I didn't make it up.
Okay, somebody else made it up to make you feel important.
That's
My earphone.
true.
How
That's
can I
true.
hear you now?
Okay, so let's just start off the day talking about the players' union. So, do you think? First of all, do you think it could happen?
Players Union, I think it absolutely could happen. I think it would be a fantastic idea, as many other people have already pointed out. You know, there have been tons of videos going up in the past few weeks and months about, you know, players feeling like they have no power, no control over anything that happens in competitive Call of Duty. Now, to a point, they are players. They are the talent. You know, they're not going to be the ones making those decisions. You know, look at any other professional sport. You know, really, for the most part, the players don't make any of those big decisions. But they do have their players' unions. And what those player unions do is, you know, negotiate. Things like that. So, you know, if there's a players' union right now, then maybe we wouldn't have champs qualifiers, season 2 qualifiers, season 1 playoffs, and like just 4 tournaments going on in February, all way out of order. No, something like that might have been prevented.
Yeah, but I think at the same time, those were just kind of. I don't know if a players' union necessarily can stop that. I think it can be helpful for sure in the way of just representing the players better when it comes to trades and stuff in the league. But I think it's just like so difficult because MLG basically runs everything. Like there's no alternative, really.
Yeah.
And there aren't this like former players. I mean, I guess there are a couple working at MLG that can say that are high enough to say, okay, well, this is wrong. This is a rule that we need changed. You know?
Yeah, but what I have to kind of say to that is the players are the big draw to MLG. You know, if there's no players streaming, MLG doesn't make money. If Nadeshot and Scumpy kind of step back and say, hey, we're not going to stream on your platform until we get a players union going, then MLG is going to listen. It just takes a couple of the guys to kind of really step up and do this.
That's a good point. But what player do you think could best represent the players' union? Like, because a lot of times in these players' unions, you usually have a player ahead of it. Who do you think that would be in this case?
120%, I think it should be Rambo. I think he's an extremely intelligent guy, you know, both inside of Call of Duty and outside Call of Duty. I think he has enough knowledge of kind of both ends of the game, you know, the player's point of view and from the management point of view, you know, being still behind the scenes at Envy and, you know, working on competitive with Sledgehammer. I think he would absolutely be a great candidate to lead this players union.
It says Nadeshot, but I don't necessarily think that Rambo's the best one because he's not currently playing. He hasn't played in a little bit less than a year. But I think it should be a current player. So with that
No.
said, why?
Because current players are spending too much time grinding on the game.
Yeah,
You know,
but
Nate Shot has his schedule. He's uploading a
I'm
video a day,
okay. I'm not saying
streaming
it
for
should be
10
Nate Shot.
hours. I'm using Nate Shot's name as an example here.
Yeah,
Nate Shot, uploads a video a day. He streams for 8 to 12 hours a day. When is he going to have time to sit down and have like actual meaningful conversations about players unions? About, decisions that need to be made.
what about a player like TP?
A player like TP who spends 14 hours a day grinding the game.
But you don't think in a week he can take out 2 hours to talk to a lawyer or something that represents him?
Well, I'm sure he could, but why have a current player who,
What about
has to
foreplay?
take... Every player you're tossing out here is the exact same issue. They're all spending time grinding the game.
Foreplay's
If you
not
use
hard.
somebody like Rambo, somebody like Big Time, or somebody who's extremely knowledgeable about Call of Duty, about the players, about the management side, then you can have a lot more. They have a lot more freedom. They can sit through, an 8-hour negotiation with MLG, and they're not losing anything.
Yeah, I mean, what's Rambo doing right now?
Rambo is currently working for Sledgehammer, or working with Sledgehammer.
Is
As
that his
a
full-time
kind
job?
I don't know if it's a full-time job or what, but I know right now he is kind of the liaison for Sledgehammer into competitive Call of Duty.
Alright, that's legit.
So
mean,
if Sledgehammer trusts him, why wouldn't somebody else trust him?
That's good for him. Do you think that all the players could get behind on this? No. Do you think the owners could get behind on the players' union? Good supporter.
Oh God, no! The owners are going to have their own union that opposes the players' union. The owners want to maintain 100% control, and currently they don't have that, but they're working their way towards it. With contracts coming in, they're getting these 17, 18, 19-year-old players to sign these contracts, and God, like they're our age, like no clue what's going on in these contracts. There's big 30-page long legally binding contracts that state, player, if you're unhappy, too bad, but if I want to trade you, I can do that. And you're not guaranteed any kind of salary after the trade, or you're not guaranteed anything.
Yeah, I was recently talking to somebody, and this team just signed a year-long contract, and they were players in no place to be, and it was with an organization that had no place signing a year-long contract. And I think that situations like those that need to be avoided, because when somebody says, "Oh, well, you can play with us, and we're a good organization, and we have a Magic Customs or Scuff Gaming as a sponsorship, and we'll get you a controller," well, I mean that's intriguing. And for a player coming up who just wants all that stuff, they're going to say, "Oh, okay, I'll sign with you right now."
Yeah. And what a players' union is, help kind of combat that. If an organization is trying to sign a player to a year-long contract, hey, you're 16, I'm going to sign you to this year-long contract, and if you breach the contract, well, then you owe the organization $5,000 or something. That's the contract that some of these players are signing, and they have no clue what they're getting themselves into. So if there's some sort of players' union where, a player could just forward the contract to him and be like, okay, what am I getting into? That could be a huge help for the players, and that would stop some of the, I don't want to use the word scam, but stop some of the smaller organizations that are just looking out for money right now.
Yeah, I think there are owners. I mean, by no means are we saying there are owners that don't care about the players, because a lot of the owners do. But I think there are some owners that want to make money, which is very understandable. So they're signing contracts with players who have no business signing contracts.
Yeah.
And it's a problem, and I think there needs to be like a middle ground, because I think contracts should definitely be a part of the game. I think it's something important that should be a part of it. But I also think at the same time, you shouldn't be having 16-year-olds just sign these contracts without having a lawyer or at least somebody look over it,
Yeah, absolutely. We need is as much as the contracts are, kind of helping the game and, helping protect the organization, a lot of these contracts have no protection for the players. Like I stated before, a player could sign a contract where, he's guaranteed $500 a month salary and full funding to go to events. But if the owner's unhappy with him, he can trade him away or just kick him out of the team, and that player loses everything. But if the player has some sort of gripe with the organization, he's locked into that contract. He could have, lawsuit filed against him, or he could get sued for breach of contract. That is, like, not only unethical, but it's got to be borderline illegal.
I mean, yeah, but I think the difference is a lot of these organizations, the owners are people with business experience who know what they're doing. So I think if they were doing something illegal, they'd know about it, of course.
Yeah, but if they're signing, 16-year-olds who legally can't be held to a contract, but if they have, the big mean owner come at him and send him a letter from one of his lawyers saying you need to, like, cease and desist, or you need to pay out this amount of money or we'll take you to court, that kid is, he's crapping his pants. He doesn't know what to do. He hasn't dealt with the worst he ever had to deal with was the bully stealing his Starburst on the playground. Like, he's absolutely clueless.
Starburst?
Starburst is good. Do you not have Starburst in the U.S.?
Oh, we do.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like something that everybody just has at the playground.
I had Starburst when I was on the playground.
Okay, did you get it taken away?
Yeah.
Oh.
You can't see
Okay.
it, but I'm turning away.
Yeah. I'm sad for you. Okay, but I mean, I think a good lead into the next topic would be the fact that these teams didn't really foresee, a lot of the owners didn't see in their contracts that, COD Champs is coming up, and some of our players might not want to play on the same team that they're playing in the season that they are for COD Champs. So, do you think that should be something that's in these contracts, or do you think that that's something that should stay out of them?
I absolutely think that players should be held to some sort of contract. I don't think players should be, running off and abandoning their organizations like what happened to Justice. Basically, the entire roster left Justice to go make champs teams. So now Justice has no representation at the biggest Call of Duty tournament in the world.
Yeah, it's definitely a problem, but I think at the same time, if you're going into the biggest event of the year and you're a player, you're saying, okay, well, I don't really mind playing with this team first this season, but I just got a great offer from the best players in the world, and I want to go play with them. I mean, what do you do in that situation as a player and as an owner?
As a player, you try and work something out with your owner. Maybe they lend you to another team for a nominal fee, or maybe they just lend you to that team out of the goodness of their heart. Or maybe the owner will just hang on to you as a player and say, you know what, I'm not going to lose the best player on my team right before COD Champs.
Yeah, but isn't that what's happening right now?
What's happening right now is players are just abandoning their teams. They don't care what happens, with the whole phase situation with, two separate phase teams. And one of them has all but fallen apart already. So you had two phase teams form for COD Champs. One of those phase teams has already, completely disbanded. None of the players want to play with each other. So now you have the original phase, the Season 1 phase team is broken up for Champs, and the only player left on that original team is Aches. So, now we're in a situation where, players like Aches might miss Champs, Embos might miss Champs, all because, players are not being held to their teams. It's a free-for-all.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because, there are these players who are top 20, top 10 in Aches, top 20 in Embos, who are kind of just being left in the dust for reasons because, oh, there's a top 9 player that wants to team with me. I'll go team with them. And it doesn't really make very much sense because there's no time left to grind. I mean, I think qualifiers is like
Qualifiers is this weekend.
yeah. And there are some teams that aren't even official yet. I mean, it's hard to think of a COD champs where you're not going to have competing even a little bit teams in the league. Like, for example, we have Justice, who's probably not going to be represented at champs. You have Aware that's probably not going to be represented at champs, except for if they do EU. But I don't even know about that. You have Elevate, who's not going to be represented at champs. And then you have Rise, who's not going to be actually, it might be. I don't even know what's going on with them.
No, Prophecy isn't going to have a team.
They're not going to?
No, because they lent 2 of their players to Stunner.
For champs, right?
Yeah.
And then is Miyagi 18 yet?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, okay. So Rise does have a lineup then. It's Miyagi, Thunder, Diabolic, and Pac-Man. We're not going to get very far, but we'll get onto that just another time. It's very interesting because I don't know. It's weird to think. It's like when Curse LV lost in the qualifiers. You know,
Yeah.
it's like it's not something. It's not something that you would expect to see even a little bit. So we were asked to talk about lowering the age limit. We've kind of brushed upon that a little bit in the past, but
Yeah.
I think that would be something obviously very good for the fans, but legally, I'm not completely sure if it's allowed.
Yeah, it's it's a very gray area legally because it's such a large sum of money, and depending on what state it's held in, because it's held in Los Angeles every year. I don't know if maybe they changed the states or maybe they changed the country. There could be probably a lot more, give and take as far as the age limit goes. But as far as, what is basically considered gambling by the state of California, you can't have anybody under 18 competing, like regardless. Not only that, but also because it's an international tournament, they have to think about the age rating on the games for EU teams, where it's rated PEGI 18, so it's not legally be allowed to be sold to people under the age of 18. So there's just a ton of stuff that we need to kind of think about, and that lawyers have to mull over if they want to talk about lowering the age limit.
Yeah, I mean, I think a traveling COD champs would be good. Like this year we haven't, obviously, but the next year maybe London. The year after that maybe I don't even know, like Egypt. I don't care, but like I don't know.
The COD scene in Egypt is really growing.
I mean, COD champs. They don't throw it for the viewership at the event itself. They throw it for the stream views and to say Activision is supporting it because Activision isn't making very much money from it. And I think that's kind of universally known, even a little bit. But I mean, I don't know. I think shout out to the man they're flying 2K off, by the way. I think that it should be it should be thrown in different countries because it's recognized as a universally held event, or an internationally, I don't know why I said universally, but held event, and I think to show that in a better way, they would have to bring that to other countries,
I think the one big issue with moving it around to other countries is I am guaranteeing you that with the amount of people from Activision and from MLG that are working on events like COD Champs, they've thought about moving to other countries. I'm sure somebody's mentioned, hey, why don't we host it in London? then you have to deal with all the legalities of hosting a tournament of that size over in London. They have to have a huge team of lawyers just trying to figure out how to legally do something like that. Because something that a lot of people don't consider, and especially with how young the community is there are laws against everything. There are laws preventing everything. You're not allowed to, the governments are so restrictive, you still can't carry a bottle of water on a plane, let alone, like, I don't know. It's a bag of worms that, I don't want to try and dig into, and I'm glad I don't have to deal with it.
Okay, there's a Spanish conversation going on in our chat right now, but I'm not going to go into Google Images and translate it, guys. Sorry.
See, senor.
But yeah, it's definitely something. But I think going into like kind of a farther country, like I think the laws would definitely be different than
CoD Champs Canada represent.
I mean, yeah, even that. But Saints doesn't go in airplanes. As you know, he didn't go to Niagara.
No.
That was weird.
I have a theory as to why Saints doesn't travel. I'm sure it's probably known why he doesn't, but I haven't bothered to look it up. So I think he is actually a international jewel thief who is wanted in 18 different countries around the world, but the U.S. granted him asylum. So he has protection in the U.S., but if he goes anywhere else, then he's going to get arrested.
And Call of Duty is where he decided to, go undercover.
Exactly.
That makes sense. Okay, yeah. JV Boss said he has no idea what he just said. Wait, I know what the word pendejos means.
All right, moving on.
Okay.
Don't get
Chat's
yourself
too
distracted.
The chat's too interesting. I'm sorry, guys. All right, so I think that we should talk about how there are so many non-definite rosters going on right now that are just so up in the air, but they're gonna happen, but they're also not gonna happen. They've been announced for COD champs, but at the same time, there's so many rumors about them changing. So I think the first one that we should definitely cover is FaZe Red. What's going to happen with them? Because as you guys may or may not know, there's been a lot of talk from a lot of players that Slasher, Enable, and Parasite are going to leave and form their own team and kind of leave Aches in the dust there. What do you think about that?
I think it would be a shame not to see Aches at COD champs. But I think it's if he did miss champs because his team didn't like him, it would be a huge wake-up call for him. He might actually start treating his teammates with a lot more respect than he does currently. Just talking to or listening to interviews from players that used to team with him. Guys like, what Sensor said, what Crimsic said, what TP said. They've all said that, Aches was a terrible teammate. He was always giving them tons of crap. Maybe deserved, mostly not deserved. But they just put up with it because they were winning. And as soon as they stop winning, they're not dealing with Aches anymore. So, maybe Aches will start to treat his teammates with better respect if he misses COD champs this year. But it would be a shame to see, 19-time champion not compete.
Do you think there's a chance that we're not going to see him compete anymore if he doesn't get a team?
There's definitely the possibility that Aches would retire. I think he's bored with Call of Duty now. He's already climbed the mountain 19 times. He knows what it takes to win, and he's done it. He's won so much to the point where he was winning when he wasn't even practicing. He's just that good at the game. Maybe he'll find something to move on to next.
I think it would be kind of cool to see a YouTube side of Aches or a better streaming side of Aches. So I think I think we all would like to get to know Aches better. I mean, he's kind of known as Aches, not Patrick Price, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be interested in that. There are a lot of players I'd like to see on YouTube. But we got a question. Is Aches the best player on FaZe in opinions?
Absolutely.
Well, I think if you're talking
100%.
about FaZe Red, yes, because
Well, he's the only player.
yeah. I think I'd be the best player on FaZe Red if I was in his situation. But I think in all of the FaZe organization with Apathy, Censor, uh, Miracles, and Killa, I think you can make an argument with Apathy and Miracles. Not necessarily that they're better, but they can definitely keep up. You know? What do you think?
I'm sure they could keep up, but I mean, just look at all the stats. Aches is his KD ratio is, at most LAN events, it's out of the it's astronomically high. It's crazy to look at, and just the amount of championships he's won.
That's definitely true. I mean, it's tough. I mean, if you're asking who would you rather have a teammate, who would you rather have as a teammate? It's different. But I don't know. Because I think a lot of players would say they'd rather have Apathy as a teammate right now than Aches, for sure. But I think if you're looking just to win and you know that you can't really guarantee a win better with any player other than Ace, you know?
It's a little fun thing that I saw a quiz or a little poll. I don't know if it was on MLG or where it was, but it was asking which player of Complexity would win a championship first. Crimsix, Karma, TP, or Aches. And everybody thought it was going to be TP. Especially since TP and Karma, stayed teamed up and went to Optic Nation, which looked like a really solid roster. And Aches was just kind of floating around. Yeah, everybody was voting TP. Rightfully so. TP is an amazing player, and he's won just as much as Aches has.
Actually, he used to win as much as Aches has, but Aches has another 2 now. But continue.
Yeah, well, that was just kind of the bait. Just
Yeah. I know.
I remembered out of the
I'm
blue.
messing with you. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely interesting to see because when Aches was on the late EG squad, he wasn't looked at as the best player. He was looked at as an asshole.
Yeah.
Excuse my language, by the way, guys. I mean, even throughout the late parts of EG, when they were even still a team, the teammates were talking about how much they did enjoy playing with Aches.
Yeah.
I will say, however, I enjoyed that video of when Aches said, "You can play the OBJ to Parasite, or you can get off my team." So
It was fantastic.
Parasite chose the latter one. But
for Parasite.
I mean, yeah, at the same time, I'm not a very big fan of his.
Yeah.
But don't tell him I said that.
Oh, I'm sure he's watching right now.
Yeah. Shout out to the man PewDiePie, by the way. But I think Ace has a lot of good qualities as a player and definitely as a leader as well. He doesn't necessarily lead by example, and his leading style is informal, no pun intended. But he knows what he's doing when he goes to land. I mean, he can practice as much as he wants, but he's playing well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't say enough about that, but you also can't undermine the fact that Aches doesn't do what he needs to do as a teammate.
Yeah, it's got to be tough teaming with somebody who just wins so much and wins so unconditionally, but is just so terrible to team with. He's just so rude and so aggressive.
Yeah, it's definitely something that he needs to be talked to about that. Well, I don't know who needs to talk to him about that. Maybe it's Mr. X. Maybe he looks up to him. I don't know. Maybe it's Face Temper. Who knows? But I think
Maybe
in
it's
that,
his mother.
maybe it's his mother. Mama aches. I feel like if she had a Twitter, she'd get an insane amount of hate on Twitter.
Oh, probably.
What a shame.
I'm
The
sure
price.
she's a nice lady.
Oh, I'm sure. The Price family needs to make like a YouTube channel, kind of just like where they vlog their life.
I probably wouldn't watch, just being honest. I got too much in my YouTube sub box already.
Yeah, I stay up until like 12 just watching YouTube. But I think another team definitely worth talking about is Elevate. Right? Yeah, Elevate because um you know, not anything. I mean, Miracles and Killa almost guaranteed that they're gone for sure. But thank you, Kraken. I appreciate that. um, and the other two was Study and Paris. No, it wasn't Parasite. Who was the last guy on Elevate?
On Elevate?
Yeah,
Oh, God.
it Study, Killa, Miracles, and Spacely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Spacely left because he's under 18. Miracles left because he is with a better team. Study left because he is also with a better team. So Elevate doesn't have a COD Champs lineup.
They do not.
They had a COD Champs lineup last year when they were a team of, I don't want to say nobodies, but their best player was Mad Cat. I mean, Mad Cat's the best DU player, possibly. I mean, Swanee's in that talk now, but Mad Cat was always a mad dog.
Yeah.
But it's really difficult when you talk about a team that got left in the dust that puts a lot into their lineup and puts a lot of effort because Elevate's a multi-game, multi-esport game like team.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a League of Legends team. I mean, they're a big organization. So when you see a big organizations and you see these big organizations kind of be left in the dust so unprofessionally, kind of like a shock to them, probably.
Yeah.
It's definitely interesting to think about. So I mean, what do you think about these organizations, these big ones, kind of being left in the dust?
It's something that they have to really try and protect themselves against better.
Kind of a
You
wake
know,
up call to Scott Champs.
well, I think this entire past year has been kind of the realization that competitive Call of Duty is growing at such an astronomical rate that the organizations and the players don't know what to do and don't know how to keep up with the growth. Players are jumping from team to team to team to try and get the better following and get the better squad so they can win, and the organizations are they're having trouble keeping players because I don't even know. I would think some of these bigger organizations would have better draws for players.
This is a difficult question, but just consider it. Should winning be the number one priority of players?
Oh, that is a very difficult question, because I would think in the long run, you're not going to win at Call of Duty for the next 10 years. It's just not going to happen. Call of Duty might not even be a game or an esport 10 years from now, just because of the way the cycle works with a new game every year. But people like Nadeshot and Scumpy, the ones who have had moderate success in winning a few championships. I think they both have like 4 or 5 tournament wins, from UMG, MLG, COD XP a few years ago. But they haven't been the most successful players in the world as far as winning goes. But they have marketed themselves so well, and just like the branding, the YouTube, the Twitch, the MLG.TV, that is what's going to keep them basically employed for the next 10, 20 years. Esport companies are going to, once those guys retire, they're all going to be flocking to try and pick them up. How did you guys do this? How did you get such a big presence? How did this? How did that? And those guys like that, they're going to be set for the rest of their lives. While players who focus strictly on winning and not branding themselves right now, once they retire, they're going to have to start over. They're going to have to, go to college, or, they're going to end up working at McDonald's because, they don't have the same skill set that other players that market themselves well do.
Yeah, I mean that's a great point, and I think there are a couple of ways to think about this. The first is you look at a player like Foreplay, who's one of the founders, and he has a great business mind, and he got a job with Gamma, and he's doing formal Foreplay things. He's jacked,
Yeah.
but I mean that's definitely a route to go, where you try to kind of build a brand, not necessarily a brand of yourself, but you build a brand and kind of market the team behind you, but not necessarily making the team about you, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
another way that you can think about it is you can look at a player like Embos, who, no offense to him, but I think on YouTube, he doesn't have the best presence at all.
No.
I mean, I look at him and a player like Spacey. I mean, they're Spacely, sorry, Spacey. they're similar in so many ways, but on the entertainment level, I wouldn't consider one more entertaining than the other. I just think one got, I don't want to say luckier, because he definitely worked hard to be where he is, but I think he had that stroke of luck that you need as a player. So
yeah, I definitely think the optic blessing that Embo's got, kind of skyrocketed his YouTube and Twitch and MLG much farther than I think maybe it should be at this level. Or at his level of, kind of entertainment value. Because I think actually your comparison between him and Spacely is absolutely perfect. They both kind of do their quick, quiet, slightly awkward intro before the gameplay, and then the gameplay goes, and that's it for their YouTube.
But I think at the same time, and sorry to cut you off, but there are definitely players that, I mean, I think thousands of people would want to see them on YouTube. Killa would be entertaining for sure. Saints, I mean, there are so many players that could be doing YouTube and could be streaming, like have a streaming personality, but they're not doing that for whatever reason it is, and I think it's because they're focusing on winning, but they're not winning. So what's their income right now?
Yeah.
It's definitely a good question that needs to be talked about by players, and I think if there's a players' union, I think it should be brought up by the leader of the players' union, because I think the leader of the players' union should have an established YouTube channel, whoever it is. But yeah, so the next thing I want to talk about. Oh my god. I accidentally opened up a link, so I heard other noise. Next thing I wanted to talk about was the MLG Pro League and the standings there. Might not seem very important to you guys, and it's not important to a lot of people, but I think it is in the sense where it secures a spot for next season, where it's going to be more important after COD Champs.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Optic Nation is officially out of the running. They cannot qualify for the Season 2 Pro League or Season 2. Actually, they can't qualify for Season 2 Pro League, but they can't qualify for the playoffs. So, thoughts on that? Did you think they could bring it back?
I'm kind of disappointed that Optic Nation didn't bring it back. I can't say I'm too surprised that they didn't, because they were so far behind. And they didn't start making changes until 4 weeks left in the Pro League. And that just, it didn't leave him enough time.
Yeah, it's definitely a shame. And then we look at other teams like Aware, who have had as much roster changes, but they're kind of like on the down low because Aware isn't really one of those big names. So, I mean, they're fifth in the league, or fourth in the league. Third in the league. I don't know. They're fifth in the league. I was right. And at first, we saw them at number 1 or number 2. But I'm kind of everywhere. And then we started to see them falling off. Then they made a roster change, and now they're exactly where I would think they would want to be in the league, because they're not a team that I think can go to COD champs.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a very solid lineup when it comes to LAN. I think it's hard to beat out a duo like Hook and TJ Halley. And then I think with Happy Online, it's just a tough duo. It's a tough trio. And then Accuracy does accuracy things, and he doesn't miss because he's very accurate. So Clash of the Bro. But I think it's very interesting to see the standing right now. It's something that has been overlooked. Because of all the COD champs things happening now, which is understandable, but I don't think it should be overlooking what's happening in the league, because the league right after COD champs is going to be the most important thing.
Yeah,
You know?
and a lot of people, they're not realizing how much money is actually on the line during the league. For every win that a team gets, each player is paid out $250 on that team. Like there's over $170,000 that is getting paid out for the season 1 of the league. Going out to players for just winning their matches and for playoff prize pools.
Yeah, and I think that's another way that Optic Gaming. I think players like Nadeshot, I mean, he's uploading a little less to his YouTube channel than he used to, but I think his income isn't being affected because he's winning so much.
Yeah.
I mean, their lineup is insane. That's been established. But I think it's interesting to think about Formal is also starting to make a comeback on YouTube. Not necessarily a comeback, but he's coming onto YouTube. I think that should be entertaining. And Crim6 is also doing that. Crim6 was kind of, people knew him before this. So I don't think he would have had as much of a large following as he has right now, but I think he definitely would have had a following before he joined Optic, and I don't think that's what players are realizing,
Yeah, absolutely. And I just did a little bit of a quick math here on the fly, because the Pro League was 9 weeks long, I believe, or is 8 or 9.
Whatever it is, yeah.
8 or 9 weeks. Yeah, so 8 or 9 weeks. With the amount of games that Optic has won, each player is getting paid almost $9,000 on just the regular season winnings.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money. So I think when players like Karma are saying, hey, what do you think I could equip that Illinois players? Because I saw that tweet from him. I think he's not realizing that he's actually going to be making money in the end of this for each time he wins.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's Karma, so I'm not really expecting much more of him, which I think sounds sad because he's a father, but I'm not going to get into that. So we recently did a power rankings. They haven't been released onto the website, but I think now would be a good time to kind of go over them. Would you agree?
Absolutely not. Not
Absolutely.
happening. Oh,
We're not.
I'm kidding. Yeah, that's.
You scared me there because I'm like, wait a minute, what did I just release? Okay.
Yeah, sure. We can go over our power rankings real quick.
Because we're going to be completely honest with you guys, this show, it's hard to get guests at first. I mean, hopefully it starts to pick up later because people are doing things and stuff. Hopefully after champs it'll kind of calm down. But so when we do these 2-person shows, we realize for you guys it might not be the most entertaining thing, but we just hope you guys are enjoying it. So we're just trying to spice things up as much as possible, So we're gonna bring up the power rankings. Um, yeah, thanks, thanks,
I don't have
James.
any kind of graphic or anything for it.
That's fine. I did. This was
Um,
kind of impromptu. So I'll just tell you guys what it is. Um, here. Okay, so this was me and Thomas's collaboration. So number one, we had Optic Gaming. Number two, we had Envy. Number three, we had Face Black. Number four, we had Denial. Number five, we had TK. Number six, we had Epsilon. Number seven, we had Stunner. Number eight, we had Optic Nation Champ Squad. Number nine, we had Strictly Business. And number 10, the Dark Horse, we had Heckleberry, of course. Okay, so if you guys need a graphic of this, if you're watching this on YouTube, it should already be on the website.
oh, it's okay. I'm making something up right now.
Okay,
Just on the fly. There we go. Apply changes.
good for you. Wait, I'm waiting for it to come up on stream. 5, 4, 3. It's a 30-second delay, right? It's a beauty. Oh, hey! I see it. It's nice. Okay, so there you guys go. But if you want, if that's Thomas, if you want a more direct form of, a better form of the graphic, it should be on the website by now. Not if you're watching on stream, but if you're watching on YouTube, like I said. So we're good. Saturday is going to be the power rankings day, so hopefully we get it updated every week. It's a lot of work. I mean, obviously, it's harder. Games. Purge. Did that work? Okay, but it's difficult to kind of come up with these because there are so many moving parts when we do these rosters. Because first of all, Phase Red, we don't know what's happening with them. We don't know what's happening with Justice. We don't know what's happening with Parasite's team. So we kind of just used the rosters that we knew were definite. We didn't want to take any chances with that. So let's go down the list. Optic Gaming. So the first one that we had was Optic Gaming. So why did we choose that? Thomas, you can give your reasons and I'll give mine. I think they're probably the same, but they don't lose. Except for 5 games. Okay. Number 2. Sorry. Number 2, Team Envious. So they're a new team. Do you like my Canadian voice there? Hey. So all right, so they're our number 2 team. They're a new team, but why don't you give your reasons for having them there, and I'll give mine, so you guys can kind of just see our thought process here. Give me- I think they're definitely a roster that can compete with Optic Gaming in Respawn. I mean, I know that's definitely something that can be. You can't hear him. Is that Tommy? I don't know what that means. Oh, you can't hear Thomas. Okay, well, Envy. Reason why I had them at number 2 is because I think with their slaying power, they're going to be so good in respawn. Zuma's a great S&D player in my opinion. Merc just knows what he's doing all the time because he's a very smart player. He's a hell of a veteran. Not calling him old. I ain't hating him. Just saying. Um, so I think it's definitely a team that can compete with Optic Gaming and any other team on this list or any other team at Call of Duty Championships, without a doubt. So number 3 is Phase Black. So that's Sensor, Apathy, uh, Study, and Proofy. So The reason that I put them at number 3 is I think Censor and Apathy are probably one of the better duos in all of Call of Duty right now, debatably. What's up to 0015798? Like that name. So I think they're one of the best duos, and I think that uh, Proofy has what he needs to have for that team can be to be successful. And what I mean by that is the veteran leadership. I mean the slaying power, and I think Censor is one of the better OBJs that there is. So, why don't you give your reasons for having FaZe Black there? Yeah, I mean, they're a team that I want to be successful because I think in the FaZe situation, they kind of got screwed over there, but then they kind of came back with this lineup that they say, hey, we can be successful. We don't need eggs. We don't need that lineup. Uh, Look at the Skype because they can't hear you, and in the chat they're saying they can't hear Thomas. That means you. So technical difficulties, guys. And Romano had 2 streams open, so ignore the echo part. But yeah, they can't hear you though, Thomas.
Okay, they should be able to hear me now, I think. I hope.
Okay, guys, so just in the comment section or chat or whatever it is, tell me if you can hear him. And if you're on YouTube, just leave a like. I mean, I can't really ask anything more. Oh yeah, and subscribe and comment if you have any questions. So number 4 was Denial with Attach, Replays, JCap, and Clayster. Oh, they can hear you. All right, good. So why
What
don't
the hell
we?
happened there?
Yeah, whatever. It is what it is. Tis what tis. So why don't you kind of give your reasons for having that lineup there?
Because JCap is a good player no matter what you say.
I have never bashed JCap in my life. What are you talking about?
It's I think Clayster is gonna do well, I don't even know. I don't know if Clayster is even gonna be on the Denial roster for that long from what he said in his most recent video. But if he does stay there, you know, I think that's a team that Clayster can really excel with.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was an interesting video because he never really said that he was happy with his lineup, which I think wasn't very smart or to do because if I was in his position with his talent, I would be ecstatic with that lineup. I mean, whatever, JCap is good. And then Replays is one of the best OBJs debatably in the game. Mad at JCap forever. Yeah, but Replays is one of the greatest like players, and then greatest OBJs, and then you have Attach, who's an online beast. Just kidding. He's actually just a great land player as well. He's just a good player altogether. And welcome everybody that's new to the stream. Remember to hit that follow button if you haven't already. So I think that team can be very good, and I think Clayster was kind of not being very thoughtful when he made that video. But what I mean by that is he didn't think about what his team was. And then let's try to go through this next 5 as fast as possible. So next we have TK, who's always
TK is a very solid squad. You know, they've performed not the greatest in the past months, especially in Ghosts. The the dark times. They didn't perform all that well. But I think TK, with being one of the few teams that has really stuck together with the core three, they're going to be able to get a really solid placings. They're definitely qualifying for champs in the first heat, I think. And yeah, just solid squad all around. Don't think there's anything else really to say about them.
I can say that Looney doesn't miss.
Looney does not miss.
Okay. Yeah, so TK has to be up there. And I think they also have proven that they're good on land. Next, Epsilon. They qualified for COD champs already. So we're going to be seeing them at... Do they have regionals?
Yep. They're going to have an EU regionals, I believe.
Huh.
I think it's online, not a LAN event, though. No, there's no LAN regionals. There's no LAN regionals this year. It's all done online.
Even for the US?
Yep.
That's interesting. Are you positive about that?
I am. It is
Wow.
recent news.
Wow, I didn't know that. Okay. That kind of hurt my vibe. Okay. I'll try to get through the rest of the show. Next is Stunner, who placed second at UMG Orlando. And they dominated there.
Yeah, Stunner is they're playing in the semi-pro league. They're first place in the semi-pro league. They are 13-1. They're just wrecking everybody. They are an insanely talented and young team. You know, with guys like TJ Halley and Hugh. It's just, if that team sticks together, first of all, they're definitely going to qualify for the MLG Pro League next season. I think they're definitely going to do that. And if they stay together, they can win a lot of events this year, I think.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely the young guns of the COD scene. So I think it's interesting to kind of see what's going to happen with them because, they're kind of not in COD champs. Not even kind of. They're just not in COD champs. And they're sticking together and they remain at 4. But Stunner has announced that they have a Call of Duty Championships lineup. So that's interesting, But next thing, by the way, actually I'll talk to you after the show. But next one is the Optic Nation Champ Squad. So that's with the acquisition of Killer Miracles and then Karma and TP.
Killer Miracles, Karma, and TP. That is Karma 5 rings right there. That is every single one of those players has won Call of Duty Championships. Karma has won it twice. If there's any team that knows how to perform under pressure, it's going to be these guys. I think they definitely can clutch up and make a giant splash at COD Champs. It could be the thing that saves the Optic Nation team.
I mean, yeah. I think that team's definitely had a lot of questions recently because they haven't been performing the way they need to in the league and just online in general, whether it's team scrims or 2Ks and 5Ks. But they haven't been performing the way they need to. And that's true. They have how many COD champs combined? 5. So it's 5 because Karma has 2.
Yeah.
So that's 5 altogether, and that's more than Aches has. So take that, Aches. So I think it's interesting to think about it that way, and I think that's very important because there's a lot of pressure there. So it should be interesting to see what they have. And then SB is number 9, and that team has a lot of questions around them because they haven't been performing to their best of their abilities, in my opinion, in the UMG Semi-Pro League. But they have such star and raw talent on that team that they're not a team that you can forget about, very easily,
I have to disagree with you regarding their performance in the Semi-Pro League. I think the Semi-Pro League is, just as formidable as the MLG Pro League. Like I said, we have Stunner in that league, who Huke drops 50 bombs, almost like it's not even a big deal anymore for Huke to drop 45, 50 bombs. There's Dream Team, who is just an extremely solid team, and they're probably going to make it to the MLG Pro League in this next rotation. I think there are definitely teams that are very good in this semi-pro league, and Strictly Business is, they're 4th place in the league, so they're right up there with the rest of the teams.
Do you not think that they should be beating those teams, though?
I think if you were to put the top teams, top 4 from the semi-pro league up against the top 4 in the pro league, it would be a lot closer than most people might guess. Take Stunner, DT, Revenge, and Strictly Business, put them up against Optic, Denial, Prophecy, and FaZe, and I think you're going to have a lot of really entertaining series there.
I mean, I can see why you're thinking that, and I mean, I don't completely agree with it exactly what you're saying, but I can definitely see why you're saying that.
Yeah.
Because they're solid teams. I think Stunner can definitely give Optic a run for their money any day. I mean, they got 3-0 obviously at Orlando, but I don't think that was a representation of what Stunner can do. I think Dream Team can run with anybody online. I think they're also very good on LAN, but I think online is where they excel. I don't, however, think that Revenge is necessarily a very good team on LAN, honestly. Like, they're consistently making it through open bracket. I'm never going to take that away from them. They're doing very well in that. But after that, I don't think they're really competing with the top 5 teams, the top 12 teams even on LAN,
Yeah.
And then last but not least is Heckleberry.
You can't say enough about Team Heckleberry for a brand new. You can laugh all you want, but this is absolutely 100% serious. I'm the one that said we needed to put them on the power rankings list.
No, keep going.
Team Heckleberry, going to a single event so far, has drummed up a media storm. Everybody knows who Heckleberry is. They have done a better job of branding than 90% of the professional organizations out there. These kids in 10 years are all going to stick together. They're going to be a tight-knit team. They're going to be like the Soviet Union in like the 1980s with hockey. They're just going to come out of nowhere. They're going to have been playing together for over a decade and just come in and wreck everybody.
Yeah, I mean...
Plus, they're adorable.
True. That's a little bit weird, but true.
They're kids. They're little pinchy cheeks. And...
Alright,
Team Huckleberry, number 10 on the power rankings list. They deserve it.
Yeah, shout out to them. They have a media manager and everything. Business advisor, sorry. If you go into their Twitter, you can see that. And then their bio is Young Gun Gamers, Jude, Griffin, Ezra, and Vince. So, just a little funny.
It's
okay.
Fantastic.
So, that's probably going to close out the show right now. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, which I think it's going to be on YouTube, probably is, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys have any questions for us, our Twitters are below. You can definitely tweet at us. We'll probably reply to you guys. If not, definitely we'll reply to you guys unless you're writing something stupid. Which I don't think you guys would. And then, yeah. So, see you guys next week. I guess that's going to be my outro. Thomas, you can do your own.
That's going to be your outro. That's so boring. I am disappointed.
Sorry, man.
I'll start with a little bit of a...
Oh, shout out to Matt James.
A little bit of music fading in while I do my outro. All nice and calming and fantastic, and I apologize. I'm in a good mood this week. I don't know why. I just am. But thank you to everybody who tuned in for the live show. It is really appreciated. Make sure to go to eSportsRush.com. There are huge things happening there. The site just is, on the tail end of a huge overhaul. We're bringing people on. We're bringing designers on, media personalities on. If you have any questions, there's a spot where you can talk to us on the site. And, You know, Azumius, myself, and everybody else has been tweeting out links to, you know, recruitment challenges and, you know, stuff like that. So just make sure to check it all out. It is absolutely fantastic. Once again, I have been Thomas, or Mr. Pro Poutine. That has been Azumius. Thank you for watching COD Weekly. We will see you all later.